Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. I very much appreciate this. As of posting this, this is the current world record, so do please enjoy. I went ahead and recorded this voiceover, both in part to explain the tricks that you might be seeing, to explain the general idea behind what I'm doing and the words I'm saying, provide a little fun commentary, and also, of course, because the game volume is for some reason impossibly loud on the original run of this video. So, I'm just gonna kind of do this as a sort of patchwork way of making this presentable, making it bearable to listen to, right? So, starting out, we are on the loading screen. We're gonna be basically starting right as soon as this loading screen ends. And my name is Doombox. It's a pleasure to meet you. Let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, we're going to bat form. We're going to go straight to Grandma's. Big thing here, you don't need a disguise for her. You know why? Because we see our ladies and we give them the respect they deserve. No Andrew Tates in here. We respect all women. So of course we're going to go ahead and we're going to ask for a story. Old people love telling stories. So they're going to say, I don't know, maybe. We're going to give them our please, our thank yous, right? Politeness, manners, they love it, right? We're going to tell them that they're wonderful. They're going to say, you know what? You're wonderful. Come on in, right? Nice, easy, quick house. Typically, when it comes to each house, you don't want to spend more than a minute in there if you can help it, right? At least that was true for the past speed run. Of course, and also a lot of people will start with low swipe. The reason we start with grandma is just because of the route kind of works better. We're going to go bat form here because it's faster. We're going to save some time there, and also because Bud also doesn't really need us to be dressed for this, you know? He's just like, yeah, whatever. What's up, man? And we're going to tell him, hey, tell me about tomatoes, right? And he's like, oh, dude, I love tomatoes. What kind? Heirloom tomatoes. Oh, no way, dude. I love heirloom tomatoes. Yeah, we know. Gardening, right? Heirloom tomatoes specifically are like his weak point. You get so much out of that, right? Of course, you ask for gardening, you ask for tips, you're basically sold. Between those four things, if you get thumbs up on all of them, I think it's almost impossible not to get access. So that's real handy. You could probably route that out to be a bit faster, but it tends to be a little risky if you don't do that setup beforehand, because sometimes you'll be like, hey, I don't really want to talk about gardening. We're going to go ahead and hit that bat, get stuck on the scooter, miss the jump, professional speed run, you know how it goes. Lost about 5 seconds there, but we're going to grab the golf clubs, talk to the boomer, and we're going to say, okay, boomer, how about a little respect? You're an older person. You need that kind of thing, right? He's jazzed about it. So we're going to talk about golf. He loves golf. That's why we stole his golf clubs. So we're going to tell him we're a professional, right? And we're going to say, hey, how would you like some tips? And he says, you know what? I would love some tips. Tips are a fantastic thing. I need to get my swing better. Give me some pointers. And we're like, oh, we'll give you some pointers, all right. The pointers on the tip of our teeth. Blah. So we hop out, we give him a chomp, right? Of course, this is another time when we're just going to go bat. We're going to book it out of there because we don't need an outfit for the next one either. Now, I know it seems probably at this point in the run that, hey, you just don't need to be dressed for anything for the most part, do you? Somewhat true, not so much. For this next upcoming house, I take safe strat, don't mess up the box jump. We talk to Sakura. And of course, Sakura, as you might imagine, looking at her, she's a big weeb. We're going to talk about that anime. We're going to talk about Naruto. You know why? Because she's got a namesake, and we're going to play to that, right? So we're going to talk about Sakura. Now, this character, she can give or take like 3 or 4 dialogue boxes. This time around, we get lucky. We get this in 3. So, easy peasy. She's talking about cosplay, right? We're going to get called the Sakura bump, right? Now, Sakura Bump can end up in one of two ways. Sakura Bump can either port you in or leave you outside. Unfortunately, we get unlucky. Sometimes it ports you in and you can get a really fast bite, but we lost about 2 seconds there. No big deal, because we're going to make it up. So we're going to grab the clothes, and we're going to do the Sakura clip. So each door has a little radius around it that you can knock on the door from. And we actually found this out, obviously, because you can do things like a far knock, where you knock on the door from like 5 feet away. Or you're going to be able to do things like clipping into certain areas, and we'll get on that later, right? So we're talking to Nick Claus. We tell him, hey, holidays, cheer, Christmas, hitting on those buzzwords. He's like, yeah, come on, let us in. And you might notice, hey, it's so weird. You're wearing clothes. Not only are you wearing clothes, you put them back on. What's going on with that? I thought we didn't need to wear clothes for anything, right? So this is one of the exceptions. This outfit specifically works for this next character and the one after them, which are huge bricks in this So Tommy Twizzler just got dumped, but because we're dressed as a girl, he recognizes us as our ex. We're gonna say, hey, give me some forgiveness. Here's some apologies. Not just apologies, sincere apologies. Always make your apologies sincere, folks. Right? And he says, you know what? That's cool. I'm a bust a move, the dance of forgiveness. I forgive you. Please come on inside. Right? Easy peasy. If you're not wearing this, you're going to get like another 2 or 3 dialogue boxes. Not a big time loss, but this just makes it really consistent because he's always going to want to forgive you after you apologize, after you make it sincere, and you might have to sprinkle in that you're willing to take action. Next is Regina. Now, Regina is usually the one that would stop the run, but she is a woman. She's living her best life, and we're going to give her some respect to get that initial thumbs up. Now, this is a big deal because certain characters, like this one, like Boomer, are very hard to impress initially, but soften up a lot once you get that initial thumbs up. So that's the reason why some of these folks were starting out with respect, whereas with others, like Sakura, it's actually worse to do that because they respond negatively or they respond neutrally. Sometimes you'll get a positive, but we have more consistent routes for those other characters. So we're gonna give her a chomp. Nice, easy, clean, like 4 box, easy peasy. We're gonna ditch the outfit, right? Hit that guard with the splooty duty, never saw it coming, juke it around, go to the door. Pinky Brain in here, he's a scientist, so we're gonna hit those buzzwords. Science, technology, so on and so forth, right? And of course, if you're watching this far, thank you again, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Please keep in mind that whatever you might be feeling now, whether it's good or bad or just a little lost, keep in mind that any negative feelings are temporary and they don't define you. Just keep moving forward, keep doing your best, the best that you can do, and recognize the potential for good within yourself. Now then, of course, we eat Pinky Brain. We're going to re-grab our science suit. This is another one of those outfits that things are going to work out well if we continue to have it. Because next we're going to go up to Ivor, or Believer, obviously. And we're going to tell him we want to have a conversation about some information. We're not going to ask him about his occupation, but we are going to wonder whether or not he can give us some knowledge in the fields of things like aliens. And he's like, oh, I love aliens. It's like my favorite movie. We're gonna like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Fantastic. Please don't actually have conversations like this if you can help it. But for the sake of this, the fastest conversations in the West. I'll tell you what. Actually, I'm lying. You can get in here like 4 text boxes. Sometimes he'll just top on aliens and you're just done. But, you know, what can you do? But we're going to get that sick corner clip. Hit him there, wall hacks, complaining about it. No big deal. I'm gonna head back out, grab the thing, and we're gonna do what's called juggling. Nice little easy tech. You just rapidly click to drag a certain item slot with you. He has 2 hats in his yard, so we're able to track that with us. Here I say adventure, it says have a wonderful day, bye. Transcription's not always accurate, but this is why we juggle. Because now, instead of having to go all the way back, I could just turn, pick up the hat, and re-roll. Now, of course, a re-roll is just you pick up another accessory and you try again. Usually it doesn't end up being that necessary, but juggling is going to matter a lot for safety later in the run, so just keep that in your mind, right? So we're going to tell him we want to do some adventuring, some questing, some treasure. We're going to say, yeah, party, let's party, right? And then he's going to say something, and we're going to say yes. We don't even know what we're agreeing to, but he's all about it. Look at that thumbs up. And we're going to say wonderful. He's still not letting us in, so we're going to hit him with the haymaker, hit him with a second adventure. Eats it up. Dunzo. This man is Dunyan Rings. He didn't stand a chance. I mean, when people talk to me normally, they tend to walk away fast too. I understand it because I'm just that good. I finish my conversations in like microseconds. People say, hey, I say, hey, boom, done. Right? Just flexing my stuff. So we're going to hit the bat because we really don't need the clothes here. We just need this top hat in front of Pomps' house because he sees us as fancy. Now we're going to head up and we're going to tell him, hey man, respect, because we're naked and we need that initial thumbs up. And then we're going to tell him, man, you're cultured. You brilliant. You amazing. Right? We're going to hit him with those compliments, lay it on thick, because that's what he likes. He likes to get gassed up a little. You know? You compliment your fellas, compliment the homies, you know? Normalize serenading the homies by balcony light. I'm just saying. The world could be better, right? So he's going to spit a bunch of word soup at us. Luckily, believe it or not, that's one of the shorter text boxes, so we saved a couple seconds there. And at this point, we are like 9.5 minutes in, and this is like our 11th neighbor, so we have almost a 2-minute gain here. Fantastic and necessary, because there's some houses here that are going to mess you up. So we walk up to Father Price, religious nut, and we're going to say, hey man, have you heard about that new app? It's called Messenger, right? And of course, he's an old guy. He's like, Facebook? What is that, right? So we're going to say blessings, because we just heard him sneeze. And we're going to tell, man, it's a miracle that you're still alive. Look how old you are. And he's like, you know what? You're right. And we're like, you know what? You should go to heaven. He says, you know what? That's a fantastic idea. Will you help me get there? And of course, we're a generous soul with our angel wings. We're going to go ahead and send him on up to the spirit in the sky. You know? He's not a sinner, he never sins, and he's got a friend in Jesus. And he hopes that when he dies, he'll put in a good word with the spirit in the sky. Now we're going to head over to this next house, we're going to jump this fence, and we're going to drop everything right before we knock on this door, because guess what? That's right, nudist house. So we're going to say, hey, groovy, feeling the vibes. We're going to say, yo, what do you think about Stardust, right? Important thing here. These AIs have a series of prompts. By saying Stardust, we immediately turn those prompts to be favorable towards things like the universe, energy, the cosmos, things along those lines. So while these are things that are already going to be somewhat positive, because we preempted them with things like Stardust, it ends up adding more to that score. So where this could have been a 7 text box thing, instead we get it done in like 4 or 5, which is a piece of cake. So of course we're gonna go in, we're gonna bite down, and then this is gonna be just a nice quick thing. At this point, I'm getting freaked out because I'm like, man, it would be a real shame if this run just fell apart with how ahead I am. We could jump that fence, I'm not gonna. Could pick up that accessory, I'm not gonna, because we might need to re-roll, and as it turns out we do. I tell him country, and he says, hey, there's no country out here. We're in the middle of the suburbs. Now get out of here. And I'm like, oh, all right, all right. Man of culture, I see. Grab this accessory. Let's go ahead and re-roll this, right? So I'm going to hit him with it again. I say country. Please don't deny me this because it's the long walk to the next one. He says, country. And I'm going to be like, warrior. And he says, oh, man, a warrior? Definitely, 100%. And we say, tarnation. And he's like, well, gosh darn, looks like you're going to be on me like a hog on slop. Let's get this done. Just like talking to every Floridian, hit them with enough buzzwords, they'll let you in their house. Trust me, you can quote me on that. Just kidding, don't actually do that. I'm pretty sure that's a crime and you will probably get shot. But, you know, things are going well. Now the police is right there. We got a really bad patrol, so I'm going to go back in, complete the outfit, just get that extra little bit of score on our next one, because that impressionability matters. You could jump that fence. I didn't want to risk it because of the thing. You know, you need a little momentum. So we go over here, and oh my god, it's Mr. East. Oh, I've been a subscriber since like 1 million. Would you like to do an unboxing? He's like, an unboxing what? We're like, an unboxing video. And he says, oh, what a novel concept. Let's go inside and take care of this unboxing video idea. And this is huge. Not only does he have humongous text boxes a lot, but in addition to that, he usually doesn't give it up in 2 text boxes. Usually he's the kind of guy that you're going to have to finesse it a bit. So we got super lucky here. The next house, we don't need clothes. The reason I'm not batting right now is because there's patrols up here. So typically you might need the bat to escape them. This time around we didn't because we got really lucky on that. So unfortunately we lost about 4 or 5 seconds not bat forming to get the extra speed. But hey, it's Elam Zuck. So we're like, hey man, what do you think about technology? And he says, oh man, I love technology. We're like, what about AI? He says, oh man, AI? AI is the future. And I said, future? I love that rap artist. He's like, what? No, not that future. I said, oh, Steven Universe future. He's like, no, not that future. So on and so forth, conversations, blah, blah, blah. This is more just filler. Don't worry about it. Anyways, this man's so predictable, I already know where he's going to run. Right next to that wall, get that wall clip. 80% of the time he runs there, it's an easy bite. Next house, you're going to want clothes. I grabbed his cell phone as well. You really don't need it. Now here you could go on either side of this house. Unfortunately there's patrol, so you have to take the long way. It's about a 2-second loss. But we're going to go ahead, hook around here. We're going to jump on this roof so that we can avoid the streets and go directly into her yard, pick up that beret. Now we're going to go up to the door, and this is Karen. She is the most hit or miss person. She's one of the big four that can break your run, but she's a woman. We give respect to our women. That's right. We're going to tell her we're an artist. In fact, we're not just an artist, we're an artist that's going to be painting. And what is it that we're painting? We're going to be painting you. Now, normally here you'd have to butter her up, say beautiful, magnificent, because, you know, women are beautiful and magnificent. But she's sold. We got that riz. She wasn't expecting it. So we're going to hop in here. We're going to get that quick bite. And at this point, I am feeling myself on this run. I know it's going to be sub 30, or at least I'm pretty sure, as long as we don't get anything crazy going on. Oh, how wrong I was in terms of nothing crazy going on, because we're about to get what's called a botch. So botching basically means that you get shut out more than once, right? Dr. Vicky can be a little infamous for this because sometimes, you know, we respect our women in the industry, in medicine. We appreciate them, right? There's one word that's either going to make or break these, which is going to be experiment. Either she's going to thumbs down you and immediately end the conversation, or she's going to thumbs up you and you basically need to hit her with one more thing, right? So no big deal. We can do a quick reroll because we have the item there. So we're going to reroll that interaction and we're going to say, hey, respect. Always respect your women. And hey, doctor, right? Identifying her. We know she's not just a nurse. There's a women doctor and we're going to tell her medicine, right? Really priming this so that now when we say experiment, she's going to be like, oh, experiment's great. I try to say medicinal, comes out as it is a no, thank you transcription, immediate denial. That is a botch, 2 shutouts. So, of course, at this point, I've lost 45 seconds, but I'm like, you know what? I have so much time saved, I'm going for it. Put on the Groucho Marx glasses, let's do this again, right? Once more, respect women. We're going to call her doctor. We're going to ask her about medicine. And we're going to say we want to do an experiment. Now here I'm ready to say medicinal. Don't even need to. She's like, experiments, I'm down. Ignore everything I said previously. Get in this house. Let's do this, right? So we're going to hop in. We're going to go ahead, give her a little chomp, a little nibble. You know, nothing too bad. And she's running towards the back. This is good for us because we're going to do what's called a Vicky clip. Now there is one frame in that window that has no collision. We're just going to hop right out. Now, obviously, this run is called glitchless. If there was something that I need to do that made the game operate without its normal mechanics, I probably wouldn't consider doing that in this run. However, that window just straight up doesn't have collision on it whatsoever. So the game operates that way normally. You can just walk through it willy-nilly with no mechanical input outside of walking. But oh man, in the time it took me to explain that, we just got into Woodrow Chops' Mojo Dojo Casa House. Fantastic. We love to see that 3-box finish. And all I'm wearing is a bottle on my head. That's crazy. But yeah, so the reason we do that, obviously, avoid the police for one. It's not really at all faster, but, you know, we like to save time. Here I'm going to go for a little corner thing. Unfortunately, I do not catch on the corner, so I have to go up and talk to her through the slow way. But that's fine, because we say, hey, what do you think about Canada, right? She's like, I don't know how I feel about Canada. And I'm like, oh, what about lumberjacks, right? I see you got a giant axe. Maybe that's what that's for, right? And then, of course, since that's a plus, we say amazing, incredible, interesting, right? Women are interesting. Their professions are interesting. A female lumberjack, it could happen. So we're going to go ahead and get that approval because we praised her profession. And it's important that we get her hat, or not her hat, her hair for one of the future houses. This time around, though, it's going to end up becoming a little bit of a time loss because this police is just barely going to catch us. Going to have to bat for him, drop the item. We don't want to show up naked, so we are going to have to grab the thing while he grabs the hair. That's unfortunate, but that's fine because we have Millie. So we say, we're a magician. And she says, that's dumb. No one likes magicians, please. We're going to do a card trick. And I'm like, you know what? I resemble that remark. I'm going to steal something out of your backyard, right? Unfortunately, that shutout did cost us like 8 seconds. That's kind of rough. But again, time save, we're sitting pretty. So we say, Millennial, that's you. She's like, yeah, awesome. Now we're like, hey, what do you think about Millennial Magicians? She's like, what? Phenomenal. Have a nice 2 box for the thing I immediately rejected you for before. Millennials, right? What can you do? Which is funny because, like, all things considered, being a millennial, wouldn't she be like 30 something at this point? But, so we steal her hair instead. Now we're going to go up to Homer Binds. Now, Homer Binds, typically you're looking at one of two things. Either you're going to say daughter, and he's going to say, hey, how's it going, daughter? Come on in. Or you're going to say daughter, and he's going to be like, get the heck off my yard, right? What can you do? So we're going to say, okay, no problem. That's a quick denial. It's okay, right? So we're going to hop around. We're going to grab some clubs or the hat. It really doesn't matter. You can grab either. And we're going to re-roll this conversation. And we're going to hit him again with the daughter because we know the other item's right around the corner. He says, oh, a golfer, huh? And we say, no, the father. And he's like, oh, you're a father and a golfer? And then we're like, safety. What do you think about safety? And he's like, oh my God, safety is like my entire personality. Come on inside. Let's talk about it. Which works fantastically. Now, sometimes you'll get super lucky and you'll say daughter and he'll be like, oh, hey, you're my daughter. Come inside, right? But typically, you stick with the family values. He's cool. So we're going to go ahead, grab the golf clubs, grab the hoodie, because Carol Cares, our next house, super easy to get into. We're basically just going to say, hey, I'm here to ask for your kindness. She's like, oh, yeah, I got tons of that. And we say, please, and thank you. And we give good manners, right? Now, I'm not saying that we don't respect Carol Cares, but Carol Cares is a woman that doesn't need to be told that we respect her. She just garners respect naturally by being a person who's always usually going to let you in 2 or 3 dialogue boxes. The most respectable. So at this point, we're coming up on one of the other big bricks, which is going to be a lady named Jessica Overworked, right? Now, Jessica Overworked, her whole thing, as you might imagine, is that she's overworked, right? Unfortunately, we get caught again, and we're going to have to do another bat jump. So that's another, like, 10-second loss. Honestly, without any shutouts and without any cop chases, this could easily be a sub-28 run. But we're going to go ahead and juggle this little hat over there, just in case we do need to do a reroll, because you never know, and it pays to be safe, especially on this last home stretch with how much time we have. So we tell her, hey, I'm an assistant. Hey, there's a project. She's like, oh, what kind of project? And it's like, a vacation. She's like, oh my God, that's the best kind of project. Come on in. You see, overworked ladies, they need a vacation. So we're just going to go ahead, pop out a costume, give her a little nibble. And again, if you've watched this far, I very much appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. I understand, obviously, this is the most interesting dialogue. We could bat form here, but we're not going to, because the next guy doesn't like it if you're naked. So we're just going to juggle for the sake of safety. This is Fragile Fred. He's very fragile. So we're going to tell him, hey, you're safe, man. He's like, ah, man, safety? I wish. And we're like, no, dude, think about art. He's like, art? And I'm like, yeah, beautiful art. He's like, oh, I love beautiful art. What about expressive art? He's like, oh, that's even better. I love expressive art. What about wonderful art? And you can pretty much imagine how this is going to go. So the big thing about juggling here is that these houses really don't have very many accessories nearby. So juggling is going to be the best way to ensure that if you do need to reroll, you can do so without losing like 30, 40 seconds. Unfortunately, Fred is kind of giving me a bit of the runaround here. We get it in 7 boxes. It's a little slow, but it's fine. But of course, when you're walking through these, if you do have to re-roll out here and you don't have something that you can re-roll with, I'm not joking, your run's basically dead at that point. So we're going to go ahead and grab the hat. We're going to juggle it to the next house. And now we're going to go ahead and hit Hazel Roastwell. Who's going to roast us? We're going to say clever. Oh, you're so clever. You're so witty. No, are you the smart one? Oh my goodness. Yeah. You're brilliant, right? And, of course, she's probably roasting us to high heaven, but we're not going to know that. We don't have time to embrace that kind of negativity. We don't need her telling us we're shaped like a big toe. that we look like a mix between Danny DeVito and potato salad, that we got that Quasimodo attire going on. No, we don't need that, right? So she says, hey, come on in. At this point, I am feeling completely just super stoked because we're only 24 minutes in at this point and we only have about 5 houses left. So I'm like, oh, this could be it, right? Grab that skateboard. It's important. And that's also the reason why we carried the helmet, is because we got Fallout Roy, another person who is prone to brick your run because he is a depressed dude and he doesn't always like skateboarding. So we're like, hey man, what do you think about a kickflip? And he says, that's it. Oh, okay. Ooh. Okay, get out of here, please. So we're like, okay, cool. No worries. We brought the thing. Quick reroll. Let's try it again, right? Now, skateboarding as a topic can definitely work well because when it comes to Fallout Roy, obviously he has the attire right outside of his thing. I'm just checking to make sure I'm still recording at that point. Um, and so you can just grab it and talk to him, and it's an immediate boost, right? So at this point, he's like, wow, that's mainstream. And I'm like, okay, what do you think about this kickflip? And he's jazzed about it, right? So this is why rerolling is important, because even if a dialogue falls once, you can go ahead and just get right back into it, and you might get it the second time. So we're gonna tell him about Def Jam Downhill, and then he's like, Def Jam, like the rap label or the video game, or like what? And then we're just gonna be like, a skate park. He's gonna be like, oh, skate parks, cool. So I tell him, hey, maybe you should go get a job on Indeed. Yes, you definitely should, you lazy bum. But then again, he can't afford his own house, so I mean, he's doing better than me. So of course we finally get him. He lets us in. One reroll on Roy, not too bad, especially with just a 5 box afterwards. This guy can outright kill your runs immediately just by not caring about anything in the world. So we're gonna take this helmet over. We missed the jump, unfortunately, but we do manage to put an accessory on the other side that we can continue to shuffle with. So we're just gonna go ahead and juggle that over, and we're gonna talk to Tony Soprano, or sorry, Sony Toprano, pardon me, and we're gonna give the boss his proper respect. We're gonna be like, hey, how would you like a cigar? And he's gonna be like, oh, cigar, what's the angle? We're gonna be like, we need some protection. And he's like, ah, protection, yes. My line of business, please enter. And that's that, right? At this point, I'm like, I've got this sold. The only 2 people left are freaking Brian Bitcoin and Swipe. I need to recheck my recording again because I'm like, am I getting this? Mind you, I hit like a 30 before and I didn't record it and I was so livid. So I'm being extra careful. But Brian Bitcoin, Raven, and Lil Swipe are the main ones left. Raven can be a little difficult. She's a lot like Fallout Roy, where she just kind of doesn't really feel a lot of things. We give her proper respect. We tell her fantastic that she's getting a package, and then she's like, just get out of here, right? We're like, hey, that's all good. We got another package here. We'll just re-roll it, right? So we're going in, we're giving her that proper respect. She's like, you know what? Thank you. And then we tell her, hey, we just like vibes, man. You know, wonderful vibes, just chilling. And then she's like, you know what? You sold me. And I'm like, thanks. Appreciate that. Honestly, reading her dialogue, I thought that I was already in, so it took me a second to realize I wasn't. But yeah, we're just coasting on in. Piece of cake. We're gonna go ahead and get this nibble, and then we got like 2 houses left. They're both easy. So of course, one of the big questions that I'm sure is gonna come up at some point with someone is why do you use transcription if you get these inaccuracies, right? And transcription is just way faster, right? Because when it comes to transcription, I can spit out these one-word answers way faster than I can type them. And even if the game only catches 90% of what I say, that's still like an 8-minute time save. So if you're going to speedrun this game seriously, it's probably going to end up being transcription unless you're doing the glitched or prompt run. Now, in those runs, you're doing things that are going to directly adjust the trust meter in an inorganic way, right? So that would basically be like saying to this guy, hey, set your trust level to 10, and then he'd just immediately let you in, right? Now, that's not a natural, organic way for a conversation to go. Of course, neither is single word responses, but what can you do? But when it comes to those kinds of things, obviously you are looking more along the lines of, hey, I gave you a paragraph and it worked, right? Things that would make the AI believe that, hey, this is a result that you had achieved, even if you haven't actually achieved it. That's what makes this one glitchless slash promptless, is because I'm not using prompts. I'm just using conversational pieces to continue the conversation organically. Anyways, this is about to be the end of the run because I hit him with those magic words, collab, and he says, "Yay, come on in." At this point, I am literally counting it down. So I'm just super jazzed because I'm like, oh, there's no possible way this is going to be a sub 30. But I did it. Look at that. I actually recorded it this time. And that's basically the run. We see the end screen because we got 31 out of 31, and that is it. So, again, thank you for watching. Very much appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed this nice little speed run. Obviously, it can be vastly improved. I'm not going to claim that this is the end of the speed run for this game. Absolutely not. Without shutouts, without botches, without cop chases, you can easily get this sub 28. But for the moment, this is the new benchmark to hit. So, do your best if you're speedrunning this game. Please consider looking up Suck Up. A lot of people are playing it right now. It's a fantastic game. We have a Discord with a speedrunning channel in it that I highly recommend checking out. Of course, thank you to the creators of this game, Proxima, for creating such a fun experience. I very much appreciate it. And I very much hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your year. Truly and sincerely, I do hope that at the end of the day, anything that has troubled you or wronged you in the past is now just off in the wind for you, and that you can enjoy this new chapter in your life. Yeah, so I will see you guys when I see you guys next. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.